Cam Ward making a Heisman statement. It's college football smothered and covered.
You are Locked On College Football, smothered and covered, with your host, Barrett Sallee. Your one-stop shop for everything college football. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey, welcome in. Thank you for making this your first listen every single day. Really appreciate you, the loyal listener. And if you don't mind, you know what? Share it with your friends. Might as well, right? Share it with your friends. We love to talk to everybody around here. We love to talk to your fans. We love to talk to our fans. So please spread the love. Really appreciate what you guys have done so far. Today's show brought to you by FanDuel. Remember, $5 bet gets you $200 in bonus bets. That's right, $5 gets you $200 in bonus bets. That's only at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. All right, we have a lot to get to today. I was in Kennesaw, Georgia, covering the Kennesaw State Liberty game last night. And for those of you who don't know, it was Kennesaw's first ever FBS win, and it came at the expense of an undefeated Liberty that has been to the Fiesta Bowl. So we will go through my entire night that was, not necessarily of the game, but my experience, and I guarantee you, you will enjoy it. We'll also talk about a little bit about the LSU defense, and a little bit more folks who have to shine. Time to shine, of course, on the Thursday edition of the show. We might as well talk about who's #1 in terms of time to shine. And, of course, it's Cam Ward. Look, I think a lot of folks will look at the Miami-Florida State game and think, oh, God, it's Florida State, whatever. Florida State sucks. Yeah, whatever. No, that's not how you're supposed to look at this. If you're Cam Ward, what is another bullet point that you need to put on your Heisman Trophy resume? Beating the bitter rival. Doesn't matter what that bitter rival is. Make yourself a legend. And even when Florida State's down, a Miami win over Florida State will make you a legend, and that's what Cam Ward can become. Look, we can talk about what the season holds for Miami, right? Might include an ACC championship, might include a berth in the college football playoff. Hell, might include a college football playoff national championship. None of that matters. This is one of those games where 365 days, it lives. No matter what happens, it lives. So they're going to give 60 minutes for the next 60 minutes and put it all on the field. To steal a quote from Varsity Blues. They're going to get Florida State's best shot. Now, we can argue what that actually means. It's probably not that high. But this is a chance for Cam Ward to etch his name into Miami lore. Oh, by the way, you also could keep an undefeated season going in your college football playoff berth. But look, I'm excited to see what happens. This is a lot of pressure, right? Cam Ward faced a lot of pressure in the Florida game in week 1, seemed to manage that pretty well. Now things have cranked up a little bit. Things have ratcheted up a little bit. Miami is clearly one of the best teams in the country. Obviously had a little bit of a roller coaster ride with a couple of wins that, wins. But now it's Florida State. Now it's the one that means everything to the U. And it's the next step. Whether we think Florida State's a great team or not, this is the next step. Getting over a rival that traditionally has been your fiercest, and a lot of times a game that has been wild, crazy, dumb at times. So Cam Ward, it is your time to shine. Clark Lee. Vandy. Top 25 Vandy. Hosting Texas. Fresh off the loss to Georgia. Now, I always wondered now, like what back in the day, the good old Saban years, 2010s, you always sort of looked at what a team's record was the week after playing Bama, because Bama would just boom, 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 just knock the crap out of people. Just beat them up, right? Could that happen now with Georgia? Could Georgia be that team? Well, we're going to find out, because Texas might be battered and bruised after that Texas game, and now they get to go to the house of Vandy. The most haunted house in the SEC. Bama went in. Nope. Vandy slayed that dragon. Didn't happen. Now Texas is beat up. Texas doesn't know what it is. Texas, the quarterback situation's a mess. The offensive line just got used and abused by Georgia's defensive front. And now they're facing Diego Pavia and crew. And Clark Lee. You think Clark Lee's Q rating went up with the win over Alabama? This is a chance for Vandy to prove that it's no longer a cute little story, right? It's no longer, Vandy beat Alabama. They're pretty good. Yay. Now disappeared. No, this is a chance for Clark Lee to set his program up for long-term success. Now, I know that's crazy. Like, what is long-term success at Vanderbilt, right? Is it 2 straight 9-win seasons like we saw with James Franklin? Yeah, that's consistency. So, yes, that is part of it. We'll see if you can do that. But what I look at with Vanderbilt, I'm like, okay, can you be Northwestern when Northwestern was really good and consistent? Can you be Stanford in the early David Shaw years, late Jim Harbaugh years? In the SEC, there's not, theoretically anyway, room for the academic success story. At Wake Forest, in the ACC, when Wake Forest is pretty good, Dave Clawson, like, could Vandy be that? If I asked that question 2 months ago, you'd say, hell no. After what we've seen this year, maybe. And a win over Texas would do it. If you're Vandy, and you can sell to recruits, and you can sell to your donors, and you can sell to your transfer portal targets, and you can sell to prospective assistant coaches that, hey, you know what? We beat Alabama, the number 1 team in the country. We can beat Texas at home as well. We got this brand new facility that's been under construction for about 7.5 years. But look, it's almost finished. We promise. You can do that if you're Vandy. Then you can be Stanford. You can be Northwestern. You can be Wake Forest. You can be that academic institution that everyone sort of looked at as a pushover, but now you might not beat everybody, but you're going to beat them up. You're going to give them your A game. You're not going to back down by a team with a little number in front of their names. So Clark Lee, it's your time to shine. Blake Baker. LSU's defense, better than I thought. Not great, better than I thought. Good enough, I think, to continue to build the Tigers, to lead the Tigers into a spot where, yes, they could actually be a team that can win the college football playoff. We already know they can get there, right? I'm not saying like this proves, like they're good enough to get there. A 12-team playoff, LSU is good enough to be one of those teams. But can they be elite? It's all on the defense. Garrett Nussmeier, offense, great, fine, perfect, all good. But can you be consistent defensively? Can you avoid the points where you're god-awful? Can you avoid those quarter-long lulls where games get out of reach? They've been able to do it for the most part this year. In fact, they have done it this year. Didn't really happen in the USC game. Honestly, they just got beat. But now in the biggest SEC game of the season, and yes, LSU Texas A&M is the biggest SEC game of the season, on the road, a defense that's got to slow down Connor Wegman, who came back with a vengeance 2 weeks ago, last week against Mississippi State. Good, not great. If LSU's defense goes into College Station and leads LSU to a victory, leads, not just as a part of the story, but gives them the chance to be whatever offensively. They don't even have to be great. Just shut down Connor Wegman. If they do that, then to me, that would show that this LSU team is kind of like Clemson this year, right? Before early in the season, they're flawed. They can't really do anything. They're just not really, whatever. They're not there yet. LSU and Clemson, step by step by step by step by step, they're building to something. For LSU, that might be a chance to win the national championship. Be good enough to win the national championship. Not now, but by the end of the season. And it's on the defense. It's on Blake Baker to get that done. Last thing before we wrap up, time to shine. Brett Bielema. It's your chance, dude. It's your chance. I love Brett Bielema. Got to know him a lot when he was the coach at Arkansas. Just everything you think Brett Bielema would be, he is. Just a fun dude. Fun to be around. Awesome guy. Illinois only got one loss. Illinois is in the top 25. Illinois could actually set itself up to be a front runner in the Big Ten championship game race on Saturday with a win over Oregon. Think about that. We could be going in to November, not just with Illinois and Indiana being cute little stories, no, but with them being like in driver's seats to get to Indianapolis. How crazy would that be? And it's on Brett Bielema's defense. Brett Bielema loves to get down and dirty. That's what, in football terms, down and dirty. But what did we see the problem was with Oregon early in the year? A line of scrimmage play. For the most part, they've solved it. We haven't seen it pop back up all that much. So, yeah, is it something to be concerned? No, Oregon's fine. They're going to keep cruising along. No big deal. Well, really? Because we've seen every single team in the country have flaws here or there. Oregon fixed it. But could it come back against a team like Illinois that thrives in taking advantage of the problems that Oregon showed in week 1 and week 2? I don't know. We'll see. It's up to Brett Bielema. And if it happens, man, I can't wait for that post-game press conference. Can't wait for it. It'd be awesome. I love Brett Bielema. Brett, it is your time to shine. Can you imagine going Indiana, Illinois into November, Halloween weekend, going into November as legitimate Big Ten championship contenders? Today's show brought to you by FanDuel. It's America's #1 sports book. You can sit there and look on that page, play-by-play stats, all of this stuff right there for you on the same page that you place your bets. It's all there for you at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. And hey, they've got a great deal for you. Your first $5 bet gets you $200 in bonus bets. That's right. Your first $5 bet gets you $200 in bonus bets guaranteed at FanDuel. So go to FanDuel.com. FanDuel.com, America's #1 sportsbook. All right, it's story time. Story time. Got to get some coffee before I go through this. All right, let's go. So, Wednesday night, I didn't know if I could actually go to the Kennesaw State Liberty game. Lots of stuff going on. So I didn't know. I called Andrew Clausen, their SID, like 4 o'clock. I'm like, hey, man, can you get me a credential? I kind of want to come see it. Whatever. It's Kennesaw State. It's Wednesday night. It's Liberty. They're undefeated. It's cool. Yeah. As many of you know, Kennesaw State beat Liberty and made history. Kennesaw State's first win as an FBS program knocked Liberty out of the ranks of the unbeaten and stormed the field twice. Like, fans went nuts, like banana boys all over the place. So, okay. College football never disappoints. And it did not disappoint Wednesday night in Kennesaw, Georgia. A lot of you probably watched that game and watched the celebration and fans rushing the field twice and thought, man, that's awesome. That's super cool. Click, what's going on? What's going on in the rest of the country? I didn't feel that way. I walked out of Fifth Third Stadium and I looked down at the field after everyone had left. And I'm not a crier, but I kind of got emotional. And look, I have no connection to Kennesaw State personally. My wife went there. My best friend went there. My brother-in-law went there. A lot of other people that I know went there, but I didn't go there. But I did grow up in suburban Atlanta. I'm 44 years old. I moved to East Cobb in 1984 when it was farmland. There was nothing there. And that is literally right outside the perimeter, much less in Kennesaw, which might as well have been a foreign country. It was so far away from Atlanta. Now it's just Atlanta. But when I was a kid, Kennesaw was just sort of there. It was a commuter school. Nobody really cared all that much about it. We got to go to a basketball camp in their gym, which was just a gym. I played some summer league baseball games on their baseball field, which literally was a baseball field, like you would see at any city or county park. It was just Kennesaw, right? Nothing to it. Early 2000s, they make a big investment in student housing, in facilities, in their campus. They build it up into this beautiful campus. They focus a lot of money on athletics. They start a football program in the mid-2000s or 2010s. And suddenly Kennesaw becomes an actual destination school, a destination university. Not just that little old school that's in the middle of Cobb County. And so walking out of that stadium yesterday, I was in shock. I was in awe. I was thinking, my goodness, that little college that nobody cared about, that little college that was just sort of there, just won a major college football game against a team that has gone to the Fiesta Bowl, against a team that was undefeated, against a team that has one of the best quarterbacks in the country, and they shut them down. And so the win was so beautifully dysfunctional because that's what our sport is, right? It's a Wednesday night in suburban Atlanta. Nobody thinks that anything's going to happen. That's all. They're a 27-point underdog. And history happens. And that's what it is. It was history. And jumping around with those kids, the first time and the second time, it showed you exactly what college football is all about. Kennesaw State's not going to the playoff. Kennesaw State's not going to win the conference this year. Now, you play that game 10 times, Liberty probably wins 9 of 10. But it doesn't matter. The playoff didn't matter. NIL didn't matter. The Heisman didn't matter. Conference races didn't matter. It was pure, unadulterated joy and pure, unadulterated college football. It's what it's all about. It's about dudes wearing banana costumes doing the swag surf. It's about grown men who have supported this school since it was nothing, crying in a suite. It was everything wrapped up into one perfect package of college football. And that's why we love this sport. That's why I love this sport, for stories like that. And you don't get those anywhere else. You don't get those in the NFL. You don't get those in Major League Baseball. You don't get those in the NBA. You get those in college football because it's not about anything else other than school pride. And I saw that school go from almost nothing to an FBS program that knocked off an undefeated team that had just played in the freaking Fiesta Bowl. That's all that matters. And that's all that should matter. Those kids should not worry about the playoff. Those players should not worry about those playoffs. Those coaches should not worry about anything. My perspective that you see on your screen if you're watching on YouTube. Those kids and those players treated that game like they won a national championship. Every single person on that field banded together last night. They were all one. They were all one. And to me, it solidified Kennesaw State as a community. It put it on the map. It was the final step in the development of Kennesaw State as a real university, as an experience that you will never forget, a school that has staying power. This is going to get a lot of people to go to Kennesaw. And I love it. I love it, man. It was awesome. Kennesaw State, thanks for the hospitality. Kennesaw State, thank you for everything that you did. Thank you for showing a lot of people who I know and love the ability to be college students, the ability to get a degree, the ability to enjoy the college experience. Because now the pride that they feel can be passed on to this generation of those kids dressed like bananas. They have that pride because now they know that they made a mark at Kennesaw, just like the people before them. And so, personally, I don't have connection to Kennesaw, but like I said, my wife, my best friend, my brother-in-law, a lot of my other friends went there. So I say this with as much bias and as much joy as I possibly can. Today's show brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the best place to get real money, sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in award winnings. PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. Now, I got to do PrizePicks. I got into PrizePicks, I should say, during the pandemic, right when sports started coming back. I think NASCAR was first. Golf came back. So, it was a way to get back in the action, right? Get back to enjoying things that I forgot that I enjoyed. Sports, they actually existed. So it was fun to get back. I used PrizePicks a lot to golf was fun, man. Golf is so good. And then during that shortened COVID baseball season, really got into baseball with total bases, things like that. It does a great job. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. They also invented Flex Play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if your pick doesn't hit. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you pay $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. So if you think, I don't know, an NFL player, let's just say Tyler Algier is ready for a big game. You see his over-under at 34.5 yards, you're going to go over? Fine. You want to pair him with Justin Jefferson? Fine, you can do that too. They do a great job over at PrizePicks. Download the app today. Use promo code LOCKEDONCollege, and you'll get $50 instantly after your first $5 lineup. That's right. Download the app. Use LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Go do it. PrizePicks, man. They do a great job. It'll keep you in the action. All right, that'll wrap it up for this edition of College Football Smothered and Covered. Man, I can't get over Kennesaw. Cannot get over how awesome that was. I mean, look at these kids. They're nuts. I mean, look, I've watched that video over and over and over again, and I mean, what it's all about. What it's all about. That will do it for this edition. Don't forget to check out Spencer McLaughlin. Does a great job over at Locked On College Football. You can look for his link right below. Go check him out every single day. Thank you for making us your first listen. Make him your second listen as well. We'll be back on Friday. Should have a special guest. You know him, you love him, you might hate him. Not going to tell you who it is, but he will be here. His name might rhyme with Chanel. Till then, have a good one, everybody.